Shelby Sylvera, and I'm going to be talking about the paper that I wrote for the research project for organized and consensual crime. The topic that I was interested in was media's portrayal of organized crime and just crime in general. And I was interested in this because we know that obviously the media affects our entire life. I mean, I'm using my phone right now to record this because my laptop decided to record my entire video and not record the sound. So, as we all know, media is all around us. We use it, we depend on it. Media is in the news, it's TV shows, it's movies, and when it portrays something, society tends to listen to it very strongly. And so that's why I wanted to talk about it, dealing with crime, because the media portrays crime in a way to attract its viewers, to get ratings. And so that's why we see a lot of violent crime. We see a lot of murders, kidnappings, all of the TV shows that are out right now. How to Get Away with Murder, Chicago PD, Sons of Anarchy, Breaking Bad. These are just some of the ones, not even including movies, that we see and we watch, and we develop these feelings for these characters, and we start sympathizing with them. I can't say that word, but we start feeling bad for them. Or even we start feeling bad for the police officers. Or we start getting these hatreds almost to police officers because of the way they're treating some of these people. Is that why some of society thinks police officers are brutal? Because of what is portrayed in the media, what's portrayed on TV? We see just the one or two cases where something goes wrong and police officers act the wrong way, and we see that all over the news. But we never see anything good. Never anything good. Like, oh, a police officer or firefighter saved someone's life today. We don't see that. We see when they make a mistake. And so that's why I was really interested in talking about organized crime and the media. And in my paper, it's a little confusing when it comes to organized crime. Basically, what we do see in the media with organized crime, TV shows, the news, it's either Martha Stewart, it's either a story that we've already heard of, and that's why they portray it, because it is, or that's why they show it, is because we're already interested in it, and they know that they'll get viewings and they'll get ratings because we're already interested. It's already out there. Other than that, we'll see the mafia. We see that. We see motorcycle gangs because those are interesting. But they're still, even in the TV show, they're altered. They're altered in a way to fit what they think society wants to see. And so after my introduction, I started talking about the news in general whenever it portrays crime. And so I found a quote, and it says, "Not only is crime considered newsworthy and presented to viewers as informative, but televised crime news also plays an increasingly important role in contemporary popular culture." So it shows the news, it gives us information, but it's popular culture, just like media. It has the same purpose, and that's ratings. And so they kind of pick and choose. They pick and choose to highlight parts of crimes, such as gender, race, things that they think we're interested in. And that's why we see a lot of that. Another quote that I found, it says, "Because news reporters tend to privilege official sources, such as local police, over alternative voices, such as those involved in the crime, television viewers are presented with selected and edited versions of the crime. News stories about crime are selected, organized, and produced in such a way that certain viewpoints or stories of those involved in crime may remain invisible to viewers." And then even later in my paper, I also talk about how some of the people who are involved in the interviews themselves have spoken out and said, "That's not what I said. That's not the context of what I said that statement in." But the editor chose the way that he wanted it, or he or she wanted it to look, and wanted it to sound, to portray a certain view to the viewers. And we get sucked in. We think, okay, this is the news. We're getting real life reality information, when really it's not. It is edited just like the media. It's just our fake reality that we think all of these crimes and all of these stories are true to a T, but it's not. And just like the media's portrayal of crime, we see all of the violence. Just like I was talking about police brutality, we see all the bad things that the police officers do. We see all the bad crimes. We see the violence, the kidnappings, the murders, the solving of the crime, people trying to get away with it. And we don't see any of the good stuff. We don't see any of the boring stuff. We don't see fraud or anything like that, money laundering. We don't see that. And so media is very skewed in its way that it perceives or portrays crime. And then the way that viewers start to develop this mentality over what they think crime is based off of what they're getting. And so it really messes with our perception on things. So then the next thing I talked about in my paper was the way the media portrays organized crime itself. And so just real quick, where is that? So we really don't see a lot of organized crime, like I was saying earlier. The only stuff we see is popular stories such as Martha Stewart. And then one of the excerpts from my paper, I said, think about it. What other fraud case has appeared in the media besides Watergate or recent Emailgate? That doesn't have anything to do with someone famous. What other crime structure do you hear of besides the mafia? And I said, you don't. The media very rarely uses the term organized crime to describe frauds except when committed by mafia-type associations. Why? To get people's attention. We associate organized crime with the mafia, and there's so many other things. And so if they just start talking about fraud and it's nothing that we've heard of before, we don't listen. And that's the sad part of where society is at. And so then the next part I found, which was very interested, was law enforcement's view. The study, they asked police officers what their views were on media's portrayal of organized crime. Was it overrepresented, underrepresented? And it says more than a third argued that there was not enough emphasis on organized crime. Some police managers stress that a large portion of activities of organized criminal groups are often carried out without violence. And so we don't hear about those. We hear about the ones that involve violence. And then there's another quote that I found. These individuals are portrayed as, so this is the part that, I wanted to talk about or find out if organized crime affected society's view, if it made them more willing to engage in crime, if it made them more acceptable of the criminal acts that are being made because of, some of the cushioning or, painting a picture of these criminals in a way that makes us, have these feelings towards them. Does it transform our view? And so one of the quotes I found was, these individuals are portrayed as good people and heroes in the media, and citizens come to believe that they are not threatening to society. I think the majority, this is a quote from one of the police officers, I think the majority of the public are not exposed to the point where they see organized crime for what it is. Even when we speak, sometimes people are very cynical about it and believe we are only saying these things because we want bigger budgets. There is a dichotomy, I can't say that word, of issues here. So that's a police officer right there talking about how society is almost siding with these organized crime groups because they're seeing the good that they're doing. They're sitting there doing these events to raise money for their society, and they're not listening to the police officers. And so that right there just shows you how big of an influence media has. And I think that I really found some good information that proves the effect media has on society in our view on organized crime, based off of the media, based off of TV shows and movies and stuff like that. And I really think that in order to get better, society really needs to view these things and know that this is just all just an exaggeration. It's an exaggeration of reality. And if we don't view it that way, then these stereotypes and these gender roles and these myths are going to continue as long as media continues to get ratings. Thank you.